there's pretty much nothing that you can think of in the financial world that we can't do. So we do 401ks, IRAs, annuities, life insurance, college planning for people that have kids, executive bonus plans, wills and trusts. Like all of those things are things that we can do for people. Right. But our biggest focus is, or what we really focus on, is financial literacy and financial education. So I love to sit down with people and I just educate people on what's out there. And then now that the clients have their own knowledge on it, they can make a smart decision and they can say, hey, my money is doing this. I would like it to be doing this. And then I can help them make those moves and get their money to do exactly what it is that they want their money to do.
Right.
So the three things, like I said, we're big on education. There's 3 rules of money that I teach people. The first rule of money is called the rule of 72. So this is like your compounding interest. So it teaches you how quickly your money can double for you or against you if it's in a positive or a negative type of interest. So let's just say you had a 29-year-old that had $10,000 sitting in a bank and they were only earning 1%. How you calculate this is you take the interest rate you're earning divided by the number 72, and that's how many years it takes your money to double. So 1 goes into 72 times. So that means in 72 years, boom, it's 29-year-olds now 101. That 10,000 has finally doubled to 20,000. Now, I don't know about you, but if I got to wait that long to see my money double, I'm probably not going to be very happy if I get to 100 and I only have $20,000 saved up my whole life.
Right.
But what if instead of earning that 1%, you're earning a 4, 6, or now you're earning a 12%? Now 12 goes into 72 6 times, so every 6 years, that money's going to double. Same 29-year-old, same $10,000. Now the money doubles and doubles and doubles. And by the time you get to 65, you have 640,000. If you let it wait another 6 years, you have 1.28 million. So that it's a whole lot better than this over here does. But most people, whenever, and the biggest thing of why we're showing people this is because most people have never sat down with somebody in the financial world to educate them and teach them about getting these types of interest rates, right? Because when you go to a bank, what does the bank offer you? A 1% and less. You go to your parents, what do your parents say? Hey, I've got my money in a bank. Go put your money in the bank. So the bank is always double dipping, and that's why people never really can earn as much as they could be earning out there. And then, so the second rule of money is, how does your money grow? First one is like a fixed rate. So it's a 1 to 3%. It doesn't outpace inflation. It's for real conservative people. The good thing about this is you don't lose money, but the bad thing about this is you don't gain any money either. So, again, like I said, it's just more for like the old school, like the baby boomers love this type of growth, or used to love this type of growth, but now they're not getting anything. So it's not really beneficial to them. Next one's going to be variable. So it just kind of goes up and down, up and down. It does whatever the stock market does. So here you can gain a lot, which is good, but you wake up tomorrow just like that, you can have nothing in your account, right? Look what happened to Russia as soon as they tried to invade Ukraine. Their money dropped everything dropped 95%, right? Imagine waking up and 95% of your retirement is gone. It's pretty scary. 2008 over here, people lost 40 to 60% of their money pretty much overnight. So next one's going to be the index. And then the reason why I like the index is because it's like a hybrid of the first two. So in the index account, when the market goes up, your money goes up with it. But when the market drops, there's a floor, and now you don't lose anything. All of a sudden, the market starts to go back up, your money goes up with it, the market drops again, boom, there's that floor. So it's locking you in, it's locking in those gains every single year, so you never have to worry about losing your money. You can gain in the good years, in the negative years, you don't have to lose anything. So if you had a choice on how you wanted your money to grow, the fixed, the variable, or the index, which one would you choose?
It'd be the index.
The index, right? So then the next one is going to be, how do we get taxed on our money? So there's 3 ways we can be taxed. First one is the tax now. These are going to be like your savings accounts, your CDs, your mutual funds, your stocks. And this one, when you first put the money in, you're taxed up front. When it grows, you get taxed in the middle. And when you take it out later on for distribution, you get taxed on the back end. Next one's taxed later. So you're not taxed up front here. When it grows, you're not taxed on the growth. It's tax deferred. But when you finally want to pull that money out and use it, that's when your favorite Uncle Sam is like, hey, now I've got to get all those taxes, or now I have to tax you on all the money that I let you get away with all these years. And then the last one is going to be tax advantage. And tax advantage is just like a pre-tax. So if you look at your paycheck, you get taxed on your paycheck just like everybody else. And even if you don't get taxed on it, if you're 1099, you still got to pay taxes on it throughout the year, right? So you're taxed up front, and now when it grows, it gets to grow tax-free. And when you take it out, you get to take it out completely tax-free. So it's going to be tax-free distribution. So on this one, if you had a choice on how you wanted your money to be taxed, the now, the later, or the advantage, which one would you choose?
So like an advantage.
Yeah, the advantage is probably what most people would decide, right? So most time whenever I sit down with people, they're like, hey, I like the index and I like the advantage. So what I do is we do a full financial needs analysis for all of our clients. We see what they have coming in, what they have going out, just double check and make sure we're going to do the right thing for them and kind of be in that financial GPS to help them get from point A to point B, right? Because if you were going to take a trip from Tennessee to New York, would you just get in your car and drive, or would you type in the coordinates and have the GPS make sure it gets you where you're supposed to be, right? Just in case you make a wrong turn, it gets you right back on turn, right? If you want to do a pit stop, you get some gas. It's $5 right now. You can get your gas and you get back on the road. So, especially up in, I don't even want to guess what it is up in the Northeast, man. Out in the West, I'm just glad we're here in Murfreesboro. Even though it's high here, I know that Murfreesboro is probably like the cheapest gas in most parts of the U.S. So I can't even complain. Out here. So now let's talk about kind of how banks actually work and how they operate. So this part right here, this client part, this is where our money is, right? When you get paid, where's the first place that our money normally goes?
We get paid. Well, they take your taxes out.
Mm-hmm. So take the taxes out, and then normally we got direct deposit, and then boom, it goes right into the bank, right?
Into the bank,
and then we pay bills with that money, right? So it's kind of like bam, bam. All right, here's what's left over from that. One of the reasons why we put our money in a bank is because it has these little 4 letters on the outside. It's the FDIC, stands for Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. And what that means is your money is insured up to $250,000 in a bank, right? So the I is the main part about this. It means you have insurance on your money up to $250,000. Now, if you have $500,000 in the bank and the bank goes out of business, they only have to pay you back $250,000. Okay. But a bank, when they have our money there, they don't just let it sit there in the vault and collect dust, right? They loan our money out, they invest our money. And one of the places that they invest our money is in insurance companies. And let's think about it. In today's day, we pretty much insure everything. We insure our house, people insure their cell phones, people insure their cars, people even insure their pets, but it doesn't always pay out because bad things don't always happen. Right, so proven fact that the insurance company is one of the safest places that you can invest your money. But when we put our money in a bank, we're only earning 0 to 1%, and we always have to pay taxes on that money. Now, when you want to borrow money from the bank, i.e. a credit card, what do they charge us on that? 16 to 24%, right? So now we're getting 1% to put our money in the bank, but then they're charging us 24% whenever we want to borrow money from them. Right. It's like you can never get ahead if you're only using this system. Right. It's like you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and it's just not going to work out. So banks operate on something called a 1 to 10 ratio. That means for every $1 million that they have, they can loan out $10 million to the people. And that's why in 2008, when everything hit the fan, over 300 banks went out of business that year. Right. Now, insurance companies, they operate on the opposite, and they operate on a 10 to 1 ratio. So for every 10 million that they have, they will only loan out $1 million to the people. And in 2008, there was 0 insurance companies that actually went out of business that year. They were some of the main companies that were giving these other companies these bailouts and helping them come back afloat. Right. So things on how that, inside of the insurance companies, when the bank is putting our money here, the bank is getting interest rates like 6 to 12% on their money, right? And guess what? They never had to pay taxes on that money that they're growing. So how that operates is there's something called BOLI and COLI. This is just bank-owned life insurance and corporate-owned life insurance. So pretty much there's a lot of banks out there that are invested in a lot of insurance. Now, let me ask you something. Why would a bank have life insurance if a bank can't die? The reason why...
But their customers can.
Their customers can, so they don't have life insurance on the customers. They literally have life insurance on the business, on the bank. Okay. But they have the account on the bank. But the reason why, even though the bank cannot die, is because they know their money's growing in these high 12% interest rates, And then whenever they want to take it out, they can take it out tax-free. It gets to grow tax-free. So they're doing what the tax codes allow them to do. They've just been educated and informed, hey, this is available. Do you want to do it or not? Most people in middle America are not informed on these types of accounts, right? It's normally like the top 5% to get this type of information. And then the COLI is just corporate-owned life insurance. So Instagram, Disney, Facebook, all those other JCPenney, they all have corporate-owned life insurance accounts as well. Even GE Plastic, like all of those guys. So what if there was a way that we could actually cut out the middleman, i.e. the bank, and instead of earning a 1% and always paying taxes, what if we could put our money where the bank puts our money, and now we can get a 6 to 12% and never have to pay taxes? And then if you had to borrow money, you just borrow money from yourself. And if you had to pay somebody back, would you rather pay yourself back?
Yeah,
would you rather pay yourself back or the bank back?
Myself.
You'd rather pay yourself back, right? Not the bank. So that way, on this strategy right here, boom, you pay yourself right back. Later on, you want to borrow money, boom, you borrow money again. So that's why this is called family banking and infinite banking. There's a book called What Would the Rockefellers Do? And it literally explains this thing right here, like beautifully, because the Rockefellers still over 100 years later, after the grandfather, I guess now, great-grandfather now, started it all, he put the money that he had earned in his family bank. He created his own family bank then, and now it's still paying out billions of dollars to over 175 family members every single year. All right. So let's look at a little bit more. All right. If we're looking at the family bank strategy, there's 3 places where our money goes. First place is in a bank. About 80% of the money in America is in a bank. About 15% of it goes to investment. If I take my money from a bank and I put it into an investment, I'm probably hoping I can gain some extra money, right? I want a ROR, higher rate of return on my money. And then the last one is the insurance part. And when I first heard this, it didn't make any sense to me. Then I found out about 100 years ago, the government made a plan that was beneficial to the government. But they basically said anything that grows inside of a tax code 7702A, your money gets to grow tax-free and you get to take it out tax-free. So yes, they all had their own good qualities about them. But where the family bank came in is they created this and it took the best of all 3 of these and made this account right here. So inside the family bank, you have some perks to go with it. The P is going to stand for protection. So now if anything happens to the person that has this account, their family would receive, like if they were to pass away or something, their family would receive a death benefit from that. But if they got some sort of chronic, critical, or terminal illness, they could also pull money from this account as far as like living benefits. So that way they can help pay for all those medical bills and everything else that they got going on. All right. The E is for emergency fund. And the cool thing about this is there is no 59.5 rule. So with 401ks, you can't touch it till you're 59.5. IRAs, you can't touch it till 59.5. In this one, there's not a 59.5 rule. All right. The R is going to be for retirement. It's good thing about this is that it's a tax-free retirement. Then the C is for college funds. If you have kids, all right, if people have grandkids, or people have nieces and nephews, and they want to start saving for them, putting it in some sort of college fund, then they're able to do that. And it's flexible. So if the kids decide they don't want to go to college, you can still use that money to fund. If they wanted to open up a business, you can help fund their business. If they wanted to do something else, you can help them out and fund them that way. Because whoever the owner is it has control over that account. And then the savings, because you're getting a 6 to 12% on the money anyways, which is way higher than that 0.01% that we're getting at the bank, right? I say 1% when I'm talking to people, but in reality, it's 0.01 that most people are earning from their bank. So that's why you never see your money growing inside of a bank, right? Okay. And so these are all the tax codes that go inside of this. So people ask, hey, how does this work? How does this work? How does this work? Boom, that's how it works, right? In the IRC handbook, you can open that up, read all these different tax codes, and it tells you exactly how this account works and how it goes. You want to take a screenshot of this? You can take a screenshot of this. Okay. Fine with me. So now we don't have to try to like memorize it and, and look at all that. But normally when I show people this, their next question is, okay, well, if it does this, how can I qualify for something like this? Right? Mm-hmm. How do I get that? So what I tell people is you have to medically qualify, because since it does have this little wrapper around it, They got to make sure that you're healthy enough for the account. They got to make sure that they're not giving you a death benefit of $500,000, and then all of a sudden you pass away from cancer tomorrow, right? They got to make sure that you are healthy for that account. And then the second thing is that it's a long-term account. So for people that are wanting to put money away and save it, you're not putting money in here today so you can try to take it out on the weekend. You're putting money in here for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, letting it just grow. And then later on, now you're ready to go ahead and retire. Now you have all this money sitting here waiting for you. Okay. So that's what this one, when I talk to people, that's how people can qualify for it. All right. Any questions so far?
No, not yet.
All right, cool. So let's see, I'm gonna go to the next part. Here's the 5 different types of financial accounts that we have. So all of these 5 are, like the most popular type of accounts that are out there. And here's the 9 things that they should be able to do. Not all can do it, but here's 9 things that they should be able to do. So a bank, when we're looking at it, it can only do 3 of those 9. It can do no risk of loss, easy access, and enhanced death benefit. 401ks, which every single person hears about and gets talked about by their parents. Like, if you get a job, make sure they got good benefits and they give you a 401k. If you go talk to your friends, oh, did they offer a 401k? And nobody even knows what a 401k is, right? We just kind of been brainwashed to think in our heads, like, if you don't have a 401k, you're not doing something right, right? So with the 401k, out of all these 9, it can only do one of them. It's only got the growth potential on it. The Roth IRA is like the 401k's big brother. It can only do 2 of the 9 things, right? The FIA is what I have actually a lot of my clients in from the 401k. It can do about 5 of those 9 things. But the family bank is the only one that can actually do all 9 of the 9 things. So let me ask you, if you had a choice on your accounts, would you rather have an account that could do 1 of the 9 or all 9 of those 9 things?
I need all of
You need all 9 of the 9, right?
Yeah.
So if we're looking at, right, this is the 401k. Now, I know you run your own business. Are you also working for a company right now, or are you strictly 100% self-employed?
No, I also have a full-time job.
Okay, cool. So do they offer a 401k?
Yeah, we have. So the company is still technically kind of new. So we have like stock options.
Mm-hmm.
So like at this point, I am 75% vested in for my options.
Gotcha. How many years does it take for you to be 100% vested?
I'll be vested March of next year, like 100%.
Gotcha. What do they do? Like 3 years, or how do they do theirs? 5 years?
4.
4 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had some people that didn't even understand what vested meant, and when they left their job, all that money that they thought was in their account, half of it got taken back by the company because they weren't fully vested, like what you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's unfortunate that it happens to people, but it definitely does happen. So at least you know how long you need to be there before, so that way you're at least 100% vested in that. So don't be making no moves and leaving till you get that 100% vested for next March. All right.
March 3rd.
There we go. March 4th, you out of there. March 3rd, you got to stay there at least till then. So here's the truth about the 401k. In the 401k, there's a couple rules. First rule is 59.5 rule, which means you can't touch money inside that until you're 59.5. If you do, you get penalized, and then you get taxed on the penalty, whether, if you have your federal taxes and your state taxes, depending on what state you're in. Luckily, we don't have the state taxes here in Tennessee, but some people can lose up to 50% of that money that they're taking out before 59.5. All right. Now let's just say you retired at the normal age of 65, right? And you're ready to go ahead and pull that money out, but that's quite a few years down the road, right? If we're looking at the situation that our country's in, with all the debt that we're in, we just crossed 30 trillion, right? It's not looking too shabby over there in the Eastern Hemisphere. So we don't know what could happen. So if you're looking at the taxes in the future of our country, do you think they're going to be higher or lower?
Higher.
They'll be higher, right? They got to pay for all this stuff somehow. So even if we waited to touch our money, guess what? Now the taxes go up, we're still losing the same amount of money, right? Even at retirement age. And then there's a third rule inside of the 401k that a lot of people, do not know about. And that is called the 72 rule. So the 72 rule in the 401k means that if you don't touch your money At 72, like let's say your fitness business blows up and that's pretty much your retirement. You got enough money coming in from that you don't even need to touch these stock options or the 401k or anything like that. And you're like, we're just going to leave this to our kids or to, whoever. We're not going to touch it. But at 72, if you don't take out the RMD, which is the required minimum distribution, you get taxed 50% in excise tax. And then they still come in and they take their federal taxes and their state taxes. So some people can lose up to 80% or more after 72 if they don't touch their money at all, right? And the reason why they force you to take it out is because in this account, it's a tax later account. So they've never taxed you up front. They didn't tax you in the middle. If you don't take it out, how's the government ever going to get their money back? They they force you to take it out so they can finally tax you on it, which sucks, right? And I don't like it, especially for somebody that's that age, to be losing 80% of their money. That's just ridiculous, right? And that's why I'm not a big advocate of somebody only having a 401k for their retirement, right? Sometimes, hey, if you're getting a match, cool, get the match, right? Just get up to whatever that match is. If you're putting in more than what the match was, take that other amount and start doing something else with it, right? Or if you don't even want to do that and somebody's no longer working there for that company, right? They can roll their 401k into their own personal private pension plan, which is what I'm going to kind of talk about next, because that gives them even more control than what they have right now with their 401k. Because inside 401ks, you still have all the hidden fees, right? Fidelity is one of the largest 401k brokers out there. They got sued by Fidelity a couple years back by their own employees because they found out they had about 9% in hidden fees in that account, right? They ended up winning the case, got their money back, but it's still kind of crazy to think. So if you put these two words together, right? The IRS, what does that spell? Put them together, it's theirs. That's why they always gonna get theirs, okay? They gonna tax you and they gonna make sure that they get their money from you one way or another, all right? Now this guy, his name is Ted Benner. He's known as the father of the 401k. And it says up here at the top that he says the 401k, this plan does not actually work for retirement. Because back in the 70s, whenever he created it, he was looking for a way that he could, and it says right here, get the biggest tax break for the companies and the corporations while giving the least amount to the employees legally. So all the 401k is just a tax break for these companies. If a company offers 401ks to their clients, they get to write off a lot of taxes, right? And then Wall Street fell in love with it because it made Wall Street trillions of dollars. So that's why Wall Street's always pushing it and talking to people about it as well. But he says down here, if I were starting all over from scratch today with what we know, I'd blow up the whole existing structure and start all over. So if the guy that created this and founded this says it's about the 401k, it should probably open up people's eyes to realize that, hey, a 401k might not be the best bet for me when it comes to my retirement, right? So this is what I talked about. We can, some people that have a 401k, they can roll it over and they can create their own personal private pension plan. So in this, they get some grips on the money. So the GRIP stands for guarantees. You also get rates of return of anywhere from 6 to 15%, depending on the company that we roll the money over with. You're not going to be indexed. So you're never going to have to worry about losing anything. You have that principal protection. You're always locked in. And then the P is going to stand for pension income for life, which means it doesn't matter if you live to 75, 85, 95, 105, whatever this company agrees to say they're going to pay you annually from this account, they pay you that until you pass away. And then whatever's left over, they leave that to your family. It goes to your family as like the death benefit, right? And so here's like what the market's kind of done over the last 20 years, right? This red line has been going up and it went down early 2000s. It started to go up, it went down in 2008. And now it's just been going up, up, and up. So normally what we know is it's going to eventually correct itself. Right now, we don't know when exactly it is going to do that, but it is going to drop down and correct itself. So I just want to make sure that people that I'm sitting down with and I'm helping, I'm getting them to this green line so that way I can lock in all those gains and they don't have to worry about losing any of their retirement or any of their money for the future. Also, we have a huge March special. We're actually doing a 30% bonus for people, if they qualify for it, to go ahead and roll their money over. So if somebody had $100,000 sitting in their old 401k, maybe they had a previous employer and the money was kind of just sitting out there, right? Or maybe they're about to retire or whatever it was, and they got 500 sitting out there. But if it was 100,000 and they got the 30% bonus, day one that this account starts, they would have 130,000 in their account, right?
Okay.
Because of that bonus. So those just other options that we have for people. So you saw the family bank, and you saw how we help people out with their own personal private pensions. So those are like our two main accounts right there that we help people out with. Now, this one right here that I'm about to show you, this is a lady that we helped out back in 2018. She had $400,000 sitting in her old 401k or her old IRA. She rolled it over, and she got a bonus of about 20% a couple years back. So she had 75,000 was her bonus. So day one, she went from 400 to 475. And then 2 years later, throughout all the growth that this account did, it ended up growing all the way to $631,000 for her in her account.
Okay.
Literally, just in 2 years, she went from 400 to 631,000. That's a 57% growth that ended up happening for her, which is pretty amazing if you think about it.
Yeah.
And that's just one of the many ways that we're able to sit down and help people. Like I said, we do wills, we do trust. I help people out with their own term insurance policies. If they're like on a budget and they can't even afford to start saving anything, but they don't have anything at all, you can help them out with smaller things as well. So what I wanted to show you though is this part. So let's look at this. So this is it's like an illustration for a lady who wanted to start saving for her account. All right. So in this account, she's going to save about $500 a month in this account. Okay. So $500 a month means $6,000 annually. That's where the $6,000 comes from. So this is just what they're putting in every single year in their account. This is like the cumulative over the years, what's been put in. So kind of look at this as like the bank account. Like if they were putting their money in the bank, that's what it would look like because it's not getting any growth at the bank. All right. The policy value is what this person will have access to as far as if anything happens to them, this plus this amount right here is going to be paid to their family. Okay, if they were to pass away or if they were to get sick, then they can go ahead and they need the living benefits, they can pull from this 525 over here, this 545 over here. And then this part right here is what this account is growing when you're adding that interest to it. So 30 years go by, this young lady put in $500 a month. She put in about $204,000, but because of the interest that this account grew and earned for her, instead of having $204,000, which she would have had at a bank if she was just saving it there, she now has $542,000 over here. In this. And the best part about this is that this is tax-free money for her. So she can take it out and use it however she wants and never have to worry about paying taxes on it. Right? It's pretty amazing. And then at the end of it all, let's say at 64, 65, I don't want to use a bad thing, but let's just say she, the good Lord decides to take her home, right? All this right here would go to her family completely tax-free. So we pretty much just helped her get a multiple six-figure retirement, right, as an agent working with us. And then we left a seven-figure legacy to her and her family after she had passed away. Mm-hmm. Now, as an agent with us, okay, this is where it gets good. Okay, this is where it gets good. As an agent with us, if you were, let's say you're a training agent, you're coming in, you're brand new, you don't know how to actually talk to people and help people out on their policies, their self just yet. What we do is anything that's done during training, we just do a 50-50 split between the new agent and whoever their trainer is. Okay, so if we're looking at this, right, 6,000 split 50-50 is going to be 3,000. All right. As a brand new associate, you'd be at about a 30% contract. So at a 30% contract for a brand new associate, you just would have made $900 for helping out this client when really, yes, we helped out the client, but the trainer pretty much did all the work, right? You were just kind of there listening to it and learning what he was doing. So let's just say it took 2 hours of work. We met with them for 1 hour the first time. We met with them the second hour or the first time. So in 2 hours of work, you made $900. So that's pretty much like you're saying, I made $450 an hour, right? Now, if you were to help, and let's say in your first month, we just did like a bare minimum and we only helped 4 clients. So we did 1 a week in the first month that you were licensed with our company. Now that just paid out to you and your family $3,600 for, we did 4, let's just say for 8 hours, right? So again, we do that. So that's about $1,800 an hour that you're, it just gets really, really, as we're starting to do this, it gets fun for me because I like numbers. I like crunching numbers. I like seeing how we can help out these clients, how we can get them to the next level. But I really like whenever I'm crunching numbers for my agents and I'm seeing what's about to happen for them. Like when I got an agent that I know is about to make $10,000 or $5,000 or $2,000 on a cycle, I can't wait for the payday to come because and we get paid twice a week also. So we get paid on Tuesdays and Fridays. So, just anytime I'm having a bad day, I just remind myself and nod my head, Tuesdays and Fridays. Tomorrow, guess what? It's Tuesday. It's payday. I've already seen what I'm about to make tomorrow. So that's my little cycle to kick off March. And then Friday, guess what? 3 days later, boom, get paid again. So that's the beauty of this business. So out of everything that you saw today, what stood out most to you?
Okay, love you too. I think what stood out to me most was just seeing, especially like the breakdown, like with the taxes, and then looking at like the different, investments that you can have, and just because I didn't know about like if you didn't take it out by the time you're 72, I didn't know that they taxed you that much. Right, exactly, and most people don't. I don't even think my parents knew about it until like 2 or 3 years ago when I had a conversation with my dad, and he was like, "What? I had to what?" I'm like, yeah, I do that. And he just turned 72 last week, so 2 weeks ago. Wow. So I'm like, well, you better start taking that money out, boy. When me messing up my inheritance, I need all my coins that are coming to me when it's all said and done, sir, so I can keep your legacy living strong. So. That's all. Yeah. The taxes and the educational thing, like that part is very, very important for sure. So if we were to, look at potentially partnering up with you, would you see yourself more on like a referral side of things where a referral agent, they still get their license with the state, but they're not really hopping on trainings. They're just kind of sending us names and numbers. And anytime we help them out with the client, we helped out the client that they send over to us, it's a 50-50 split, or a part-time is like the next category. So part-time, it just means that you are, 10 to 20 hours a week. That's part-time. You're kind of learning more of the system and how to actually talk to people on your own. So you don't always have to split stuff 50-50. You can kind of do it all yourself and do it 100% for you. And then the other one would be full-time, but normally full-time is for people that have experience in the industry and they've kind of already, done something like this before. Where do you lean in more towards? I think right now more on the referral side, but and then eventually like getting to that point where like I'm an actual agent. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So what it looks